5 movies that horrifyingly killed people in real life. Every once in a while, you'll see a movie that really inspires you or gets under your skin. While for most of us, that means we become cheerful or depressed for the rest of the day, there are people out there who let their emotions rule the show. And their emotions are not what you or I consider to be constructive or positive in any way possible. These 5 now iconic movies have affected the masses, but for a couple of mentally on-edge folks, these cinematic features caused them to kill or die themselves. Number 5. Twilight. This vampire romance series exploded overnight, it seemed like. While most of the fans were comprised of overzealous 12-year-olds, there were a few older people who enjoyed this franchise. Enter a middle-aged recluse of a man who lived in New Zealand and decided he wanted to see the movie one evening. He travelled to the theatre, got his ticket and sat down for the 6 p.m. showing. Only he didn't get up again after the movie ended. After the rest of the crowd had cleared out, an employee of the theatre found the man dead in his seat. Police quickly arrived on the scene. Despite an in-depth investigation, nobody could figure out why the man had died. Puzzled by the mysterious death, many New Zealanders waited to hear the results of the man's autopsy. But the results were never made public and never discussed again. The whole thing has some folks wondering, did the man become inspired to die in the hopes of returning as a vampire? Or was the movie so lousy he died of boredom? We will likely never know. Number 4. The Passion of the Christ. When this gory, controversial film hit theatres, it wasn't that uncommon to see whole families sprinting out of the building with tears in their eyes afterwards. Jim Caviezel played Jesus Christ and is seen enduring the brutal treatment Jesus was subjected to. But it would seem that God did not appreciate this take on human history. It's reported that Caviezel was literally struck by lightning while they filmed a scene by a tree, but that's not all. Once an employee for ABC News, a woman named Peggy Law decided to see the film in theatres. Apparently, conservative Peggy had no idea that the movie depicted so much gore and violence. She was overcome with emotion and shock at what they showed. By the time the scene of the crucifixion happened, Peggy couldn't handle any more. She succumbed to a heart attack as the scene took place and died within minutes. Many people believe that Peggy's death, along with the wayward lightning bolt, are signs from above that God did not approve of the stylings of this most controversial film. Number 3. Queen of the Damned. When most people think about this less than exceptional movie from the 90s, they think about Aaliyah and her most untimely death in an aeroplane crash in 2001. But Aaliyah's death had nothing to do with this mediocre sequel to the film Interview with the Vampire. In this installment, the notorious vampire Lestat becomes acquainted with an ancient vampire queen played by Aaliyah. One day, Tom McKendrick asked his buddy Alan Menzies if he wanted to come over to his house to watch the movie. Alan was so enamoured with the movie and the vampire queen, he asked Tom if he could borrow it. Alan then proceeded to watch the movie hundreds of times. He began to tell friends and family that the vampire queen started to visit him at night and speak to him. One night, after becoming convinced that the vampire queen wanted Alan to become immortal by killing someone for her, Alan decided he would have to find someone to kill. It was soon after when Tom made the poor choice of insulting the vampire queen in the movie. Alan became enraged and hit Tom over the head with a blunt object. To complete the job, Alan then stabbed Tom multiple times, drank his blood and consumed half of the man's head. Not long after Alan was tried and convicted for the murder, he killed himself in prison. Number 2. American Psycho. Who doesn't love a movie about a crazy stockbroker from the 80s? American Psycho became a cult favourite the moment it hit theatres. While some viewers were equally entertained and sickened by Christian Bale's character, there were some who found him to be a bit too perfect. 14-year-old Michael Hernandez was an ordinary, albeit rather nerdy young man. He admired many superheroes and some not-so-savoury characters, such as Hannibal Lecter and Bale's Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. One afternoon, Michael decided he wanted to be like Patrick and attacked and killed one of his classmates at school. When his parents were questioned, both admitted that Michael showed signs of mental instability long before the murder occurred. Michael was tried and whisked off to prison. Number 1. Natural Born Killers. Some movies become so controversial their creators are hardly surprised when they get into trouble for their creative freedom. Such was the case for Oliver Stone, Quentin Tarantino and Woody Harrelson, who rallied together to create the film Natural Born Killers. The movie centres around two young men who become serial killers and are then sensationalised by the news. After the film debuted, many people blamed it for a surge in violent behaviour. Two 18-year-old boys were caught robbing and killing at a bank shortly after they watched the film. The duo behind the Columbine shootings, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, used NBK as the codename for their plan. A 17-year-old boy proceeded to shave his head after watching the movie, then shot his mum and half-sister while they slept that night. It's impossible to say how many murders were inspired by this film, but let's just say there will always be those unstable people who take the movies just one step too far.